My pleasure. Okay, we have, Mike, you're on.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. One of the frustrating things I find with a lot of the way the boards and committees work in this town is, you know, they all say they want more public participation, more public inclusion, but basically, you know, once you've got your public participation period, once that's done, there's not really much interaction when it comes to real agenda items that are on, you know, that we're meeting about. And I'd like to change that. I'd like to allow people to be able to comment on agenda items, and I'd like to get the committee's thoughts on that. And mind you, I mean, for all I know, you probably allow it. I just haven't seen it. I mean, if someone raised their hand, for all I know, maybe you'd be fine taking them up, but I'd like to formally do that.
I may not understand exactly what you're saying. Are you saying the agenda is published before the fact?
Yes.
Correct? Yes?
Yes.
And it's published publicly, it's
Yes.
publicly available. So are you talking about public participation during the meeting?
Yes.
That's your agenda item.
So when the committee is discussing, you know, cutting the budget $900,000, that's well past public participation, public comment.
It's also past the public hearing.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean here?
We have a public
We had a
hearing.
public
Oh
hearing.
yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Right.
Yes.
It was just
Different
an example. Search and seizure policy. All right.
Okay.
We're talking search and seizure policy. Well after the public comment period. But now, you know, Kenny brings up something, and you know, it's starting to stew around. Maybe there'd be some people in the audience that might want to comment and give feedback, but I don't know if they're really welcome to do so at that time.
They're not. That's
Right,
correct.
Right. Can we make it so they are? I have a motion. I move to allow public comment during the discussion of agenda items for up to 2 minutes per speaker. The chair may allow more time at his or her discretion.
Do you need a second for discussion?
Yes, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second for discussion?
Okay.
Could I just either read it slowly or just use it? Thanks.
Okay. The floor is open to discussion.
So I think that as a committee member, I am always open to ideas on how to get more people in the audience, to be able to get feedback, to be able to hear more from the community. I think that there are so many different opportunities to do that than having it part of every single one of our agendas. Our agendas, because there are important pieces of the school business that we have to take care of, that we have to vote on. You already see our agendas are so long that having that variable of not knowing how long that would go, I think we would never get to all of the voting issues that we actually would have to do. So I would want to absolutely have the discussion on ways that we can include more people in the public participation part, or whether you have a Q&A afterwards or something like that. Having a coffee with the members of the school committee, you know, on Wednesday mornings or something like that, but different ways where I'm actually looking for community members to be engaged, to actually watch our school committee meetings, to actually participate here in the school committee, but then do it in a different forum. I think that if we open it up during the agenda, we will never get to some of the most important agenda items that we need to get to and the votes that we need to get to, because it'll happen all during that process, and these agendas are so tight. That's my comment.
Can I respond?
Oh, sure.
The library trustees had the same concern, and we implemented it there, and the people that attend are mostly nonprofits, you know, the Friends and the Foundation, and they were thrilled, and it didn't add much at all, because I mean, yeah, we have a big agenda, but there's only a certain amount of things that people want to comment on. Not everyone's going to comment. It doesn't, you know, it technically entitles people to comment, but they're not only going to comment on stuff that's really important to them. And I think for people to get involved, they need to have a say, not necessarily a vote, but a say. And if it's after the fact, if it's after the vote, it's too late. So this is how I see it done when I attend meetings at the state level, at the federal level. Public participation is not only welcomed, it's encouraged at the meeting, so people can make informed decisions if someone has some feedback they might be able to give. But that's where I'm coming from.
Cliff, Ken?
So our meetings will be going to midnight. I see your point, but it's not done at the selectmen meetings, correct? It's done at town meeting where basically it sounds to me that we're trying to turn this into a school town meeting where we would give everyone 2 minutes to comment on. Today we've had a lengthy agenda. I think in public participation, that's the opportunity for anyone to take a look at our agenda and comment on something that might be item number 9 on the agenda and say, you know, their point. We can take their point and comment on it when we get to that. But me personally, I'd have a hard time supporting that.
Are you done? You know, in terms of public, I understand completely where you're coming from, but you know, and at the national level, you have public participation at subcommittee meetings or committee meetings. You don't have public participation at the policymaker meetings. So we're the policymakers, and you know, we have to seriously debate and take votes and so forth. And one of the things that I've always been, and you're new to the committee, but one of the things I've always been, and Michelle can bear me out on that, is I almost always refuse to vote on a salient issue the first time I get it. So, you know, I like to discuss it, I like to talk about it, I like to think about it, and then I like to come back at some future date and actually vote on it. So by doing that, it gives the public the opportunity to know exactly what's coming up in the future. We're going to be doing that with the school improvement plans. We'll probably be doing that with the program of studies. We'll be doing that with a lot of different things that come before us. Our budget and our main issues are always open to public hearing. When we had the transportation situation going on, that was open to. We had public meetings. We had a subcommittee that was advertised that people could come and participate in. In terms of our availability, people know us, we're always available, and if they look at their agendas and if there's something they don't understand about the agenda, I get phone calls all the time. What is this agenda item about? And I tell them, and if they want to be here on public participation, they are. But one of the most important things why I think that I would not support this is the hot issues become politicized. And I just don't want to, I just see this has the potential for becoming a political arena, and I just don't want to go there.
Sure.
More so to Ken's point, yeah, people get the agenda, it's posted ahead of time and such, but people don't get the documents that we get until they see them up on the screen. So then they might have some feedback after they see, oh, that's what the search and seizure policy really means, or that's how it really reads, or the presentations that are given and such. So in real time, it's that important, I believe. I'm guessing I don't have much support for it, but I don't know how else to get people more involved.
No, I understand your
Mr.
motive.
Chair,
But the thing is, I mean, these are televised, so people are like, why should I be here? I can't really do anything. I'll just watch it from home. So why be here?
Right, Mr. Chair, you have absolute support for the overall feeling of wanting more participation and more caring in the school system and what happens. I think that I would want to seriously see new ideas come forth on how we can do that. I think by just saying this one forum is the way to do that, I wouldn't want to go there until we've explored all the options that are available to us. And just the comment that you have about the search and seizure policy, the nice thing about us having a policy, because most people do have comments on the policy review, the policy review committee meetings, they are posted and they're public forums. So people actually have an opportunity there before it comes here. Here is after we've had a committee, open discussion, people can come and talk about all of those policies. Then this is where we have to say, all of the feedback is given, now we need to take the vote. If we've offered those opportunities along the way and people haven't taken advantage of them, and then all of a sudden we allow that to happen here, it's just basically discounting everything that we've already opened up, and then again, takes our meetings and turns it into something different than really what it's meant to be.
For 2 minutes a person?
I would, the comment through you, Mr. Chair, the comment that I would say, if all of a sudden it had something to do, we have a discussion coming up that's, or that could be coming up about, cutting sports. Okay? We have, that would need to be the only agenda item on our agenda, the only one, because we've seen public forums when we're talking about that one item, all of a sudden there's 50 people that want their 2 minutes.
And the way I've seen that work in the past with like super hot button issues is that the chair, and I could amend the motion if I have to, but the chair would say something like, you know, they know that the people are there for that reason. I'm going to take, 3 for, and 3 against, and then we're going to move on. So
I would just ask that, through you, Mr. Chair, this is the last thing I'll say, that we explore all different types of opportunities to get the public more engaged in policy setting, because again, we're policy setters, looking at the budget, how to engage, because we've been trying since 3 years since I've been here. We have 4 different open forums for people to come and talk about the budget, 4 open ones where people can get up and talk as long as they want, 4. And people don't show up. So I would want to focus on that piece, and again, explore other options before we basically say, this is the end all be all, this forum is the way that we're going to get that public participation or more people engaged. I think that there are so many existing things that we can explore to get people more engaged first before we all of a sudden say, this is the first place we'll start. We have other places that we could start before here. But again, I feel 100%, I'm in 100% agreement with you that we need to spend some time focusing on getting more people in this community interested in the education of children.
I'm going to vote against it, but I want you to know my thinking as I vote against it. I think there are always unintended consequences, even with the most idealistic and well-intentioned ideas. My inclination would be, as chair, that when I review the agenda with Dr. Rabinovich, I may, in the future, see a particular issue, think that it might be valuable to the committee to hear immediate feedback, and that put a note next to that specific agenda item, public participation permitted, and then not so much limited, well, I would not only limit it to the certain amount of time per participant, but I'd also have to limit it as a certain finite amount of time in general, because otherwise, as Ken has indicated, our meetings would be that much longer. So you've got me thinking. I applaud the idea of pulling people in and making them feel more like it's an inclusive process, but I'm concerned about unintended consequences, so I think I'd like to explore it tentatively, put my toe in the water to see what the impact would be before I generally open it up the way your motion would do. So I didn't want you to misconstrue my negative vote, that you've got me thinking about ways to explore it in my role as chair.
Okay.
Any other points or discussions? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
No.
Sorry.
Any abstentions? Okay.
Feel bad for her.
I know.
First time out of the
Your
box.
first one.
1-4-0. Any other business to bring before the committee?
Welcome to the committee, Mike.
By the way, I've been shot down too, so. Yes,
The executive session.
I know, I
Okay.
realize that.